Hello, welcome back. Hi, if you are new, nice to meet you. And if you're returning, then thank you very fucking much for coming back. This is a festive glam special. I've got a dress on, we're festive, we've got a boner here, we've got shiny eyeshadow on, and got a little can of Jack Daniels. This is actually filmed right at the end because this is a get ready with me. So if you want to see how I achieved this look, have a little blather with me about Christmas shit and traditions, and yeah, there's going to be a chat about COVID in there. There fucking has to be, right? My name is Alana, I'm a 30-something Scottish lady. Sorry, I didn't introduce myself there, and I didn't let you know that I like a sweary word. There is sweary words on this channel, I'm really sorry if that's not your kind of thing. If not, that is absolutely fine, just move yourself along. But if you do have kids running about, anything like that, and you need to turn the sound down or put the headphones in, now is the time to do so. Now is also the time to go and get yourself a fruity libation. Cheat yourself. Treat yourself to a cocktail in a can, why not? Although this isn't a cocktail, it's just a Jack Daniels with lemonade, but you know. I am just getting ready to go out for a Christmas dinner because it's the 23rd of December as I film this, and I won't be able to do anything on actual Christmas Day. So this is my Christmas dinner, that's why I'm glammed up at the moment, and that's where I'm heading. We're not allowed to drink in the restaurants in Glasgow just now, or in Scotland in general, so I'm having a little fruity libation before I go, so make sure you get one too. And if that sounds like your kind of thing and you would like to have a chatty, get ready with me and see what I'm doing, it's Pat McGrath by the way, just so you know, then just keep on watching. Right, so let's get started. We're going to start off because it is the 23rd of December. This is going to be my version of Christmas Day. So I'm going to start off with a drink. I do live in Scotland after all, you know, we're allowed to drink in the middle of the day. It is 12:30, that's acceptable. It's after 12, come on. So I've got Jack Daniels with Tennessee honey, it's in lemonade. Or I've got this funny one that's like a rosé spritz thing. I imagine this is going to be a bit, although it has more alcohol in it, but this is bigger. I think I'm going to go with the Jack. Or will I go with it? I think I'm going to go with the Jack. Now just before anybody wants to pass judgment, yes, I will need to take some insulin for this because I don't think it will be diet lemonade. No doubt it has sugar in it, but very nice. Okay, so this makes a nice change to actually have some fucking daylight today. Wow! It is, no doubt, within the next 2 hours it will be pitch black. But I'm going to just start playing with the Pat McGrath palette because I have had a little play with it. This isn't like a whole honest first impressions, but I've had a little play about with it. What I'm going to say is I did find that I struggled for transitional colorings. Yeah, that was probably where I struggled, but we're gonna make a go of it, and I might dip into my Lethal Cosmetics palette alongside this just to have a little Christmassy look today. As I mentioned, we are going for Christmas dinner today basically. Oh, also, is there anything nicer than having all your brushes washed? Done that the other day. Treat yourself, you know, fucking treat your brushes. Yeah, so as I mentioned, we are actually going to go for a Christmas dinner today. It's the 23rd, I know, crazy stuff, but oh, I've not got my glossy Future Dew, hold on, that's better. So I'm going to start off with this. Yeah, so we are going to go for a bit of a Christmas dinner today as a Christmas menu, which I'm looking forward to. I have already done sunscreen, skincare, all that kind of stuff. I've done that about an hour ago. And now I'm just going with this because I kind of fucking love it. Yeah, so we're going to go for a Christmas meal today, and we are going to go and meet some family and go for a walk as well. Try and do a bit of gift giving, or at least gift swapping. We might not be able to do the whole unwrapping and type of thing, but at least if we can hand them over a wee gift and stuff like that, it'll be good. The new lockdown news really kind of upset me, to be honest with you, but do you know what? There's ways and means around it. We have to just do it. We just have to get on with things, I suppose. Like it or lump it, and everybody is in the same boat at the moment, unfortunately. So this morning I've just been listening to I actually was listening to a lot of kind of rock music, taking me back to my past, bit of Queens of the Stone Age, Soundgarden, Rage Against the Machine, a bit of Alien Ant Farm, weirdly, was on the playlist. There was loads of weird and wonderful, what else? Slither, do you know that song? I fucking love that song. And weirdly, a little bit of Marilyn Manson came on as well, and I was like, oh my god, I've not listened to this since I was about 16 or something. So when all that came on, I was like, you know what, we're gonna do gothic Christmas. Or we're gonna do like rock chic Christmas version of this. And I'm gonna wear my velvet black dress to dinner and I'm gonna be a fucking badass. I'm feeling my fucking self today. I fucking hate it when people are like, I'm feeling myself. Like, I know, I'm that dick. Yeah, don't worry about it, absolutely. But I am actually feeling quite merry and bright today, if I'm honest with you. I'm feeling in a really good mood today. And I'm just kind of like, you know what, we've got to make the most of it, what we can. It's not going to be the best year ever, obviously, but in a way, I kind of thought it's probably a good idea that I'm working this Christmas, because no doubt everybody next year will want Christmas off, because obviously, hopefully, next year we'll actually be able to spend it with family, and everybody will want next Christmas off, but I worked it this year, so I'll not be working it next year. You know, you got to take turns about, you got to do your fair share. I was talking to one of my colleagues the other day from a different ward, and he was saying what their ward do. I know, thrilling entertainment, this chat, isn't it? But he was saying their ward do it so that there's like, they get 1 in 3. So like this year he'll work Christmas, next year he'll work New Year, and the year after that he gets off completely. And I was like, that is fucking genius. So it means that he only has to do Christmas once every 3 years. And I was like, why can't my ward do that? That seems like a really good idea. But also I think that only really works if you've got the same kind of staff a lot of the time, and like not a lot of changes in your staff, I suppose, to make it fair, to keep it fair. Right, I'm gonna go in with, I think it's Ephemeral from Liso Cosmetics, and that is just to kind of set my lid in preparation for some of these Pat McGrath colours. Yeah, so like I said, I was playing with this Pat McGrath palette and I think it's lovely, I think it's beautiful, but it is actually, I don't know, the colour story, I kind of was like, oh, wait a minute, it doesn't completely tie, like there's pinks in there and things like that, and I'm like, oh right, okay, so I just saw green and gold and thought, love green and gold, very Christmassy, but it's quite pinky toned as well, which I wasn't really expecting, and then when it arrived I was like, oh, okay. So I think to start off I'm going to go in with these two colours as a little bit of a transition before I go in with Pat. I can't remember what these called. One is definitely Eden. I can't remember what the other one is called, I'm sorry. I will put them down below in the description box to let you know, because this is a palette I made myself. Didn't literally press the shadows myself, obviously. It's from Lethal Cosmetics and I picked the colours myself, but one is definitely called Eden, possibly the one in the middle here. I can't remember what this one is called. So I'm taking this very lightly just to do my little transition shade here, because I think if I'm going to go into that crazy green colour, then they might need to have a little background. And I kind of thought, I can't go in with a dark brown straight away, can I? I don't know, we'll see how this goes. Anyway, I hope you are all having a wonderfully festive period and a really nice time. I hope that the restrictions have not affected you all too much. What about in other countries? What are you guys doing? I know that things are still bad. Every now and again people comment, or even on Instagram, like people message me and they're like, it's absolutely terrible where I am. I wish people would listen, all that kind of thing, and it can be really, really frustrating, I get that. But then I don't know what the restrictions are. What are the restrictions in certain parts of the world, in other places? Are you allowed to see anybody on Christmas Day, or is it an absolute no-go? I seen that there was a few people had put up on their Instagram as well, like, this is the first year I'm going to be without family. Like, I've had a wee boy this year and they've not seen any of their family, and this Christmas they're just going to see them on Zoom basically. And I was like, yeah, it's quite a lot of people's Christmas this year, quite a lot of people's holidays, and also not just, I know like back in earlier in the year, Eid was really difficult for a lot of community around about here anyway, because they weren't allowed to have big celebrations and things like that. So it's just affected everybody this year. It's been absolute mince for everyone. I'm just hoping that come the 18th of January, which provisionally is the date we've been told, and my birthday is on the 20th. Alan, unfortunately, his birthday's on the 7th, so he's gonna have a shit Christmas and a shitty birthday. But my birthday's on the 20th, and I'm off that week because I booked that week off. I always book the week of my birthday off. I know, big kid. But I booked that week off, and I'm hoping that provisionally we might be able to see family and do something with them and spend some time with them. That would be lovely. Obviously the vaccines are now being rolled out. We are yet to hear about it where I work, to be honest with you. Not because anybody's like not told us, it's just obviously there's a system where certain people are getting them before us, and I know for a fact like somebody I work with who is in a high risk category got it via their GP because they are classified or qualified, they are qualifying for it prior to other people getting it. So fingers crossed. I don't know how anybody's feeling about this new strain. Is there new strains again? I feel like as if, see, once now that everything's kind of not quieting down, that's stupid, but the hysteria of COVID's passed. Sorry, got to keep on top of the booze. But once the hysteria of COVID passed, it was like, oh, do you know what? Now we don't really talk about the fact that there's still, I know for a fact there was like a nurse died in one of the hospitals here in Glasgow the other day, and it's like, that wasn't mentioned on the news. And nobody really seems to be mentioning what's happening in any other countries now, whereas right at the start of this it was like we got a daily update on the numbers in Italy and Germany and France, like everywhere we got updates every single day, in America as well. And I know it's even harder in America because it's such a big country, but I just think like what will happen over there, like people, you don't have free healthcare over there, do you? So how does that work? How will that work for you? I don't know. Should I zoom you in a wee bit? I feel like you're very far away from me. Hold on. There, that's a little better. I feel like I'm very shiny. That's okay, that's the future do. We're gonna try a new foundation today as well. Number 7 Hydroluminous. I know, I always speak about number 7 Hydroluminous, but this is slightly different. We'll get into it when I'm talking about it. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So I've put in these two kind of green colours. They're like a mossy green, I suppose, just as a bit of a transition. And now I'm gonna go in with a Pat palette. It's so funny when you look at the green and you look at it from this angle and it's like a purple, and then you look at it straight on and it's like, wow, emerald, it's amazing. Right, so I'm gonna go in with a little bit of, is this called dark? I think it is. Yeah, it's like the kind of matte brown. I'm gonna go in with that on the same brush, but just again hugging around about here. As I said, we're going deep and dark because I was kind of feeling like that today. I was doing a lot of jiving about my living room to a lot of heavy rock music, and I'm just like, yeah, do you know what, let's do deep and dark. And I'm gonna wear a black dress and I'm gonna look like Wednesday Addams, except with curls. Curls, and I might well actually put a nice bow in my hair, so you know, Wednesday Addams with a twist. Green-eyed Wednesday Addams. Yeah, so you don't have like free healthcare over there, so how will that work for people in that situation? It terrifies me. That absolutely terrifies me. I've mentioned before on this channel that I I listen to My Favourite Murder, the podcast. I actually really enjoy it. It's probably my most listened to podcast. But they were talking about, on the minisode, about the healthcare system in America and how, you know, people can't get free healthcare. And basically someone had wrote in saying that at the start of all this COVID, they were a type 1 diabetic like myself, and they basically thought they lost their insurance, and they were like, how am I actually going to live? How am I going to live? Because I can't afford to buy insulin. It's going to cost a couple of £1,000 or dollars, at least $1,000 to get me through, and I don't have it. And they put a call out onto a Facebook group and basically was like, could anybody help me? And some kind soul got them together enough to see them through at least 6 months worth. And to me, I find that, I can't even comprehend that. I don't know what that would feel like, because here in the UK, we obviously get services like that, especially if it's not terminal, chronic. If it's a chronic condition that you require this to live, like there's no bones about it. If I didn't have insulin, if I stopped taking insulin, even for about 2 or 3 hours, I will be in the hospital. There is no other option. Like, that is it. That's my fucking life. And I think, to be fair, especially because I work in the health service, this is just a clean brush now, I think a lot of people probably take that for granted a little bit. that, you know, things, oh, we'll just be owed that to us because we have free healthcare. It is a little taken for granted at times, and I just thought that is fucking terrifying to think I wouldn't even know how to go about getting my insulin, the thing that keeps me alive. Like, that's terrifying. So what will happen with vaccines over in America? Does anybody know? Have you been told anything yet? Right, so I've kind of carved out a bit of smoke going on there. And as I said, that was me using those two green ones as a bit of a back, and then dark, this like brown one there. And it is really dark. It looks kind of warmer in the pan, I feel, but it is a very cool toned brown. But I'm gonna go in with the green one now. And I think, do we put it on wet? Should we put it on dry first and then see? Okay, so I'm just gonna pack this across the lid. Oh my God. Wow. I'm acting as if I haven't seen this already. I did try this on my lid the other day, but every time I do it, I just think, this is phenomenal. It's so pretty. I love this green colour. It's amazing, and it's like a glistening, like it just, it's like a jewel on your eye. A jewel, a gemstone, I don't know what you would say. So that's it dry, and actually I think it still looks really good dry. Will I try it wet? Will I stick a bit of wet on the top? Okay, so I'm gonna go in with a wet one. I think it gives a little bit of more impact, but I'll be honest, I don't necessarily think that it needs it. I think it still looks as good as it was. See, this is why I didn't do face stuff first today, because I definitely fall out, but I don't really care. Right, I'm gonna go back in with my little brush and just meld some of that together. I know, I'm gonna walk into this restaurant at 3 o'clock this afternoon and they'll be like, sorry, is there some sort of smoke show to happen? Like, is this lady here to perform a magic show or something like that? What the fuck's going on here, hen? I was a super duper goth, and sometimes I would have like really exaggerated smoky eyes, and she'd be like, especially my aunts and uncles actually, they were even worse, not so much my mum. My mum was very supportive in my choices. But my aunts and uncles would be like, did somebody give you 2 black eyes? I'm like, fuck you guys, like, you don't get how you kill us. So I'm getting at the risk of bringing this too high, so I'm gonna go back in with the clean brush, because I do this quite a lot. Like, I end up making it far too 80s chic. What I like about the green one is, see when you start kind of blending them together, the dark ones and the green, it almost makes your whole eye shimmer, which is quite nice. I know these faces will be lovely on the camera, sorry. Alright, so just zoomed out a wee bit again. I think on the inner corner I'm gonna take the bronze one. Is it bronze 005 or something like that? I'm gonna take that on the inside. But I learned the other day, because it's such a very, very golden, like orangey bronze, when I brought it in here, it made things look a bit dark, which I didn't want. So what I might do is use, what's this one called? I can never remember, Astral Orchid or something? No, VR Nectar. So I might use that one right in the inner corner, and the bronze just in the kind of inner lid. What I will say for these shadows is they blend beautifully, like so nice with other shades. I just find I barely have to work with them for them to do what they need to do, which, as somebody who mainly has always been a bit of a budget to mid-range shopper, never like luxury beauty shopper, I actually was like, damn, okay, you know why you expensive, pet? In hindsight, how do I feel about spending the ridiculous amounts of money on Pat McGrath? Well, I got it on an offer, which technically meant, as I said already in my Black Friday video, that this probably, I saved a lot of money on this. Let's face it, these are like 120 quid each usually, but I saved quite a lot of money on this. But what I will say is, would I instantly go and pick up one of the full Mothership palettes at 120 or 30 pounds? I don't know. I think there has to be something particularly interesting, or particularly something that turns my head about it, because for the simple reason, it is a lot of money, and I probably could achieve similar looks using slightly cheaper products. they might take a bit more time to work and get there, and they might not be as stunningly beautiful, like when you put it on the lid or you put it on your finger and you're like, oh my god, it's amazing. Yeah, I'll give you that. But what I will say is that it is achievable with cheaper shadows. I think I have to stick to my guns on that, and I think it's beautiful, and I think if you want to own really beautiful, stunning makeup, then fucking you do you, I've done me, you know. But it's definitely achievable. Don't like think, oh, I need to buy that to be able to achieve that look. I think you could probably get it from other products and things. Right, I'm now going to take that VR Nectar, which is almost like a pinky gold, and put that right in the inner corner, because I just think it's amazing. It's definitely kind of peachy pinky. It's a strange one. I wonder if I should mix it with a bit of the bronze actually, because it's really pink. Or maybe I should have took some of the, there's like a really nice gold in the Celestial Divinity palette with less pink in it. I maybe should have took that one. There is so much fallout all over my face as well, but that's alright. I'm going to take a tiny bit of Eden again from Lethal. I'm sure that one's called Eden. I'm sorry if I'm saying the wrong thing. And just pop that under there. And then I think I'll go in with the dark as well. I don't want to have too much going on, because I am going for dinner at the end of the day. I'm going to a restaurant in the middle of the day, and they'll be like, who are you? Poison Ivy? I'm just putting a wee tiny bit of moisturiser under my eyes, because now it's just kind of wiped under there. I don't like it leaving it all so invulnerable like that. Oh my god. So how are we feeling about the new year? As I said, let's hope that this year is a little better. I'm going to go in with this. It's the Hydra Luminous. So as I said, slightly different. Aqua Release Skin Perfector. It is a tinted moisturiser with 8-hour hydration but light coverage. Now I know what you're thinking. You've just put a super smoky eye on and you're going to go with a light tinted moisturiser. I'm not saying this is going to work, but I'm sure Alan isn't going to give a shit when we're at dinner together, or afternoon lunch together, whatever way you want to put it. And I thought I just want to give it a try, because it sounds like it's something that would be right up my street. The only thing I will say is though, this one has 0 SPF, like none at all. I know you should always wear SPF regardless, and I've put SPF on today before I put on Future Dew or anything like that. It was part of my skincare. But the only thing I will say is that the other ones, the Hydra Luminous Foundation and the Advanced Perfect and Protect Foundation, that all has a little bit. I think one is SPF of 50 and the other one has an SPF of 15 or something. And as I say, I would always be putting on SPF anyway, but I just thought it was a bit strange that the fact it didn't have any SPF at all. Now, I picked up light in this, and that is because the woman in Boots, lovely girl that helped serve me, said to me if I was warm ivory, this is the shade I should be. So we'll see. It looks quite pale-y, but pale, that means pale. I'm wondering, should I just put this on my fingers because it's a tinted moisturiser? I'm just going to go in with the fingers first actually, just to get a feel for it. I quite like to do that. It is certainly a light coverage, but I think quite pretty with it, quite dewy, quite nice. Is it going to be anything that I don't already have, like the Future Dew or things like that? Does it something that is particularly required? I don't know. I just loved the sound of it, the fact that it was going to be hydrating for 8 hours. I thought, okay. Definitely has some element of coverage. I feel like I'm quite red in the cheeks and it's dampening that down a little. I think if you had oily skin, saying this and it's like a first impression, then I can't definitely say, but I can't imagine you'd be loving this if you had oily skin. But for me, I quite like a dewy foundation. You know that already, but this is particular. I think in the summer, maybe this one will be better. There's definitely an element of coverage there. I think it looks a bit pale. I don't know, what do you? I think it looks a little pale. Maybe it's just because my lips are covered with it. Sometimes I always think if your lips are a bit white, it can make you look a bit whiter. Don't know how I feel about that. Not entirely sure. I'm going to go in with some heavier concealer today. Actually, I'm going to go in with the NYX Dark Circle Corrector Concealer, just because I would usually use my Glossy, but I think that given how kind of dark the eyes are, I'm needing a little extra coverage under here, and definitely to reduce the redness and things on my nose. So Christmas, do you have any obvious Christmas traditions? Do you do like a Christmas Eve box or anything? I don't do that because obviously I have no children, but I wondered if other people who had kids do, or is there any like Christmas traditions that you keep up with? I think for me and Alan, like, we're very traditional in the sense we wait to Christmas Day to open our gifts. We don't do a wee Christmas Eve present, like that's just not something we really buy into. I don't know why, we've never really done that. When I was growing up, when we were wee, we always done a proper, like, kids go to their bed and then Santa comes, you know? Like, Santa comes, you need to be in your bed, that's what has to happen, otherwise he's not going to come. So that was like pretty traditional how it worked. As we got a little older, maybe by the time we were in our teens and whatnot, Santa used to come at midnight because all the adults would be drunk. So just me, yeah, they would all be pretty stocious, and it was like by that point, even if we had went to bed as teenagers or whatever and be like, oh, we're going to go to bed because we want to get presents in the morning, because you know, you're surly teenagers. But by that time, if we went to bed, then 9 times out of 10, the adults were probably waking us up being like, just coming home your gifts now. And it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be like, thanks, now everybody's knackered. Once actually, one year, I remember my Uncle Adrian was so drunk that he fell asleep, which was fine. We're like, oh, leave him to sleep, it's fine, we'll have a party. And then we all went to bed eventually, maybe like 3 or 4 in the morning, thinking, right, we need to go to bed, we need to get up and have dinner tomorrow. So yeah, we were like, right, we better actually go to sleep and get up for dinner at lunch tomorrow. Like, do you have Christmas lunch or Christmas dinner? I have Christmas dinner. We very rarely, we never really have Christmas dinner at, you know, 12 o'clock in the day. I know that's quite a traditional thing people do at Christmas lunch. We don't really do that. Probably about 4 or 5 o'clock, I'd say. But anyway, so yeah, went to bed, no bother. Uncle Adrian's fell asleep on the couch. All is grand. And we woke up in the morning and he'd obviously got a hankering, like the munchies. Like, cause you know when you get drunk and you're like, oh, I really need a takeaway now, or I need to get a kebab on the way up the road from the dancing. So that's what he'd done, but he tore the turkey to shreds. The turkey had been like kind of pre-prepared and pre-cooked and stuff like that for the next day to be carved. Lo and behold, turkey was tore to shreds. Best to say, my Auntie Betty was not amused. Okay, so the coverage is, yeah, it's very slim, to say the least. But what I'm saying, I think it makes me look a little ashy rather than warmer. I know it actually probably matches my chest really well. Chest is going to be covered because I've got like this high-necked dress that I'm going to put on. But I think it's just a little pale, which is annoying because I did say to her, I wear warm ivory, and she's gave me the light one, and I did wonder, but she actually probably has matched me correctly, but I'm just a bit of a goon and I'm like, yeah, I like to look fucking more tan than I actually am. So for that reason, I'm going to go in with some bronzer because it is deathly needed right now. I'm going to go in with NARS Laguna. I do love the Body Shop one still, the kind of gel one, but because I think this is quite, not oily, but quite dewy, I want to have a powder product just to try and help set things a little. Now this is a little, oh my god, this has all went to shit now, isn't it? This is a little orange now on my skin because that was so pale, because I ain't doing it again. This is just how I'm going to the fucking restaurant, I don't care. It's amazing how bronzer just kind of brings your face back to a bit of normality, isn't it? Right, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the Beauty Pie Luminizing one. This is the dupe for Charlotte Tilbury. I've made a Charlotte Tilbury order. I know, I've kind of jumped the gun a little bit because I was like, next year, maybe I'd like to try Charlotte Tilbury. And then boom, that was me. Sold. Do you know why though? Simply because, I don't know if I've mentioned this already. I might have, I'm sorry. I've been doing a lot of videoing. Simply because she's brought out small sizes of her airbrush foundation, or like the luminizing foundation thing. She brought out small sizes of that and I was like, holy shit, like that's the thing I wanted to try, but equally kind of was like, I don't want to spend a lot of money on a foundation when I don't wear them that often. So I thought that's quite a good idea actually, to get a little travel size to see if I like it before I actually buy the full size. And my friend Syra, she had messaged me being like, oh my god, right, this is the best product ever, you're gonna love it, you need to try this, you need to try that. And she gave me a good idea of maybe what shade I should be wearing as well. And when she messaged me about it, I was like, this sounds exactly up my street. It sounds like I'm gonna like it, so fingers crossed. I also bought a blush and a lippy, I think, and one of the quads with an Eyes to Mesmerise pot, because I did speak about that. So where am I going from here? I'm gonna do brows and put, well, I finished the under eye, that might be an idea. I think what I'm gonna do is just run ever so slightly a little bit more of the dark and a little bit of, well, I think I'll put a pop of the bronze right here. Alright, so I've finished the eyes. Let me just bring you in a little so you can see them. So I just popped a little bit of the bronze right under here. As you can see, this is quite pink, but actually I don't mind it. And then I've got the bronze in here, the green over the lid, and then all this dark stuff going on in the corner here. So it's thinking super smoky. So I'm going to now go and do my brows. I'll put some mascara on, just using the NARS Climax mascara. It's nothing fancy. And then I'll come back to you for a bit of lippage, I suppose, because I've kind of done everything else. Might even go and switch into my actual attire and then come back to you. So 2 seconds. Alright, so I'm looking back, sensitive as fuck, love it. I love this dress. You do not see the full effect of it at all. It's like this pussy bow neck with big puff sleeves. It's from H&M, but when they done the collaboration with The Vampire's Wife, so nice. Anyway, we're gonna put some lips on. I figured, let's keep it neutral. I don't know if I want to go as dark as Jamie Genevieve's Power Suit. That might be a bit too orangey. I don't know. Or do I want to go with Beauty Pie's Guilty Girl, because it's still kind of browny colour but not quite as strong. I'm going to use Beauty Pie's Foxy anyway, the lip liner. I'm going to use that just now, and then from there I'll see where I take it. What do we think? Maybe Guilty Girl? Don't know if that's going to be too pink. Maybe not. Actually, I think with this light pink undertone than the orangey one. Yeah, I didn't want it to be too orangey, like green orange, but yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that one. There we go. So that is me, prepped, ready, festive, fun. Still got a little bit in my can left. We'll not be able to drink once we get to the restaurant, clearly. So that's why I thought I'll just have one while I'm getting ready. Because you can't drink in any restaurants at the moment in Scotland. It's a bit shite that way. But by the by, I'm being a bit moany now, aren't I? I don't know, fuck, what else did you expect? But I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. Hope you have a wonderful time. Make the most of it. I know it sounds pure cheesy. I know I come away with some of these cliche things sometimes. But the truth is, it's about being together, which we can't do this year. And that's why it's making it so hard. You could send the most expensive gift in the world, but if you still don't see that person, that's why it is so difficult at the moment. So make the most of it if you can. Try and get to see your family if you can safely. Good luck. I hope you all have a lovely time. I hope you've managed to get a bit of glitz and glam on at some point. And let me know what you think about this. Do you think it was worth the... I didn't spend £120 odd on it, but would you pay £120 odd for a Pat McGrath palette? Have to say, I am pleasantly surprised by the palette in general. But I think if another Mothership came out, it would have to be something particularly special for me to want to pick up another one. But the mini ones, the actual quality of the shadows throughout the range, whether it was the Celestial palette, the mini palettes, the kind of 6-pan palette that I got, the Mothership, the rose one that I got that's a smaller one, all of the quality of them have been second to none. I cannot dispute that at all. So just so you know, if you don't want to shell out on a big massive one, or you think I wouldn't use all those colours, look into the smaller ones, because they definitely have a good quality of eyeshadow, even if they're not as luxe and you know, that kind of shit. Anyway, with all that being said, I need to go back and actually film the intro to this video now. So I'm going to go and do that, and I'm going to say cheerio. Hope you all have a lovely time. Hope you all have a lovely festive season, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye!